literally the first time I'm seeing these two ever.
Yay!
On video.
Christina and I have 3 years of friendship, and this is the first time.
Yeah. I'm serious. Like, seriously, this is the first time her and I have seen each other on video.
Really?
Yeah. 3 fucking years of talking on the phone, talking online.
We text every single day.
Yeah.
And you've never done, like, FaceTime or anything?
No, we text every single day.
We're always busy. We're always doing something whenever we're talking. Like,
we call each other, like, at least twice a week and talk for hours. We do podcasts together, but we've never done a video chat.
It's literally me. It's literally us going to the bathroom and still talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valid. That's valid. We always have to go to the bathroom.
Well, that's a true friend.
We can't FaceTime that. It's like, well, I don't want you seeing me in the bathroom.
I mean,
no, I just mute her. But... I just mute her and bring her with me. It's great. She's like, where you been? Why have you been so silent? I was peeing.
Don't call me out. Shut up.
I was calling myself out, but you just called yourself out, so that's fine.
Hey, I'm like, not even really one drinking. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
We're in Molly's, an empty bar.
Yeah, look at you guys like our
right? But you don't get characters, unfortunately. We should Photoshop them in there.
I tried to do my makeup like Sylvie, but it doesn't look as dramatic as hers. So
I was trying to do like Erin, but it's not working out right now. Like, you guys can't see my highlights. It's there.
Nice.
But
she like Sylvie wore a lot of like peaches and golds on her eyes this past season, so I tried that. But
nice.
Doesn't really show up the way a professional makeup artist would make it show up.
Usually Stella's behind the bar, so
yeah, that's true.
I'm fine with that too.
Hair? Where's your Stella hair? It's very straight right now.
It went away. You missed it. You missed out.
Clearly,
I'm wearing my Stella hair.
Favorite characters, and by the way, I love your guys' shirts.
Molly,
show it off, girls. Look at that.
Representing.
Mine's custom made because nobody wanted to make a Stella shirt because they're all assholes.
Me too.
Mine came from the official NBC store because
everybody wants Molly's.
Logan's the only one that's legit.
Yeah.
Whoever
I looked
signed this one, so whoever it is, thank you, Redbubble. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm about to say I looked at Redbubble, but there wasn't anything like Sylvie related. So because apparently people hate her now, so
whoever hates her, get out.
Right?
Get out.
I mean, that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
She is. I love Sylvie.
I love Sylvie. I love her.
Adorable.
I love
How
her.
can you not like her?
Get out.
Oh, because
so I didn't get anything off of Redbubble because of that, but NBC had Molly's stuff.
Yeah, I want that. I think I'm gonna go to the NBC store.
Yep, I was just thinking that myself.
They have, if they still have it, they had a St. Patrick's Day shirt. It's like green. And it has the Molly's logo on it. It's got a shamrock. I have that one.
That's fun.
Logan's the most legit out of the three of us.
I mean, she is legit. She's eating fucking cheese with her.
She's whining and cheesing.
I am whining and cheesing. Yes, I am.
Holy whiskey. Like, I have nothing with me on me right now.
I just have a beer. It's so legit. We're trash.
So good. So good.
Trash. I have nothing to eat with this whiskey. Which is why I'm going to get
the truth is,
more in this.
I just forgot to eat lunch, so.
You went grocery shopping, Christine, to make sure you got your whiskey.
Okay.
And you didn't get groceries for that's a real Erin Lindsay thing to do, if I do say so myself.
Hey! You had bags of groceries.
Like, you were like, I went grocery shopping, and now you're saying you have no food, but we know you got whiskey. That'd be a real Erin thing to say.
Can I say I'm Erin, I guess?
Now we know why you relate so much.
Yep.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, it all comes together.
No, but you know what? Like, Sophia and I have moles in the exact almost same spot. Hers is just not as dark. So, there you go.
You are her.
I am her. I am her. I didn't ask to be, but it ended up that way.
I didn't ask to be. I didn't ask for this burden.
Okay, I didn't. I don't know how. You know what? I didn't. I blame quarantine for this whole one Chicago spiel that I'm in right now.
But okay, but I really like the perspective that you've given, because everyone I've talked to who's a fan has been a fan either since it started or like since season 2. So kind of like watching vicariously through you for the first time as you binge the shit out of it. It's been an interesting perspective.
I did that too, but I did it before quarantine. Mine was like during the hiatus, like between, you know, the fall finale and the winter premiere. That was when I watched like everything, and I watched it totally out of order, which was dumb. I should not have done that, but I did. And
I did too.
It's funny.
Yeah, Logan, you watched it in reverse, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Well, that's wild. That's wild to me.
Well, because season 8 was already on Hulu, so I was like, well, I'll just watch that first and see if I like it.
Yeah, no.
And then when I became like obsessed with it, I had gift cards to buy the DVDs, so I just watched them in the order that they shipped, and they just happened to mostly ship in reverse.
That's
so I got
hilarious.
season 7, so I was just like watching them as they came in, and ended up watching the show backwards, which was interesting because I actually ended up. It was funny because I do not enjoy Gabby in seasons 5 and 6, but I love her in all the seasons that came before that. So it actually worked out. I thought it worked out really well for me because I started with Gabby when I didn't like her, and I ended with her when I do like her. So
see, Christine and I have had this discussion before about how like shows have this specialty of if someone's leaving, they like do their damnedest to make you hate the character.
Yes, that was my immediate thought when I was watching season 6, because they
want you to be glad that they're gone. I swear.
So hard, yeah. They really did.
Yeah, maybe to like half of you guys, but for me, it was just like, no, I want them back even more. Fuck you.
I mean, watching it, I definitely wanted them back. Like I've told you before, like we knew that Sophia was leaving super early, so we had like all this time to accept it. And then they were trashing on her, and we're like, okay, like we see what you're doing. Yeah. But I think it was less about. It wasn't that I wanted her back less. It was just that I had more time to accept that she wasn't going to be there anymore. I had the whole season, time in between seasons. So I mean, we had months.
Yeah.
See, and
issue that
you had 3 minutes.
It was different. It was different for me because I went into watching it knowing that Monica Raymond leaves at this time. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I knew Lauren German is done after this season because of this. So I went in like knowing certain things were going to happen. So I had already prepared myself sort of for like characters that I knew weren't going to be around long. I also had a friend that's still really upset about Peter Mills, so I kind of knew about him leaving going into it too. Because
is she talking about me?
No,
Christine's still upset.
I'm still upset too.
Christine has developed this like never move on attitude when it comes to One Chicago, and I'm like, bud, this is not the show to die on that hill.
My thing is, you can still like love and enjoy the characters that aren't on the show anymore. I don't like it when people take it to the extreme of like, this character must stay frozen in this exact moment in time and never move forward. That I don't enjoy that so much, because if I love that character, I want them to be happy. Whether like, that's
who.
Well, this was my issue. That was my issue. Like
who left for Stella to come?
What?
Was it Lauren German?
No, Lauren German left when Lauren German was done in season 2, and Kara came in season 3.
Yeah, it was Sylvie.
So, no, if Lauren German was still on the show, we wouldn't have Kara Kilmer and Sylvie Brett. Stella, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
She came in sort of like a few episodes into season 4.
It was like halfway through season 4.
Yeah, and it was like Jimmy Borelli was the candidate, and then all of a sudden it was like there was a firehouse that closed, and they had to redistribute the firefighters. Yep. So they took Jimmy off of Truck, and he became Sylvie's partner.
So they brought
in Stella. I don't know why, like, when you're looking at it from a cast perspective and a story perspective,
I don't know
why that, unless they just felt like they needed more women on Truck.
Maybe.
Seems like, well, out of all the 3 shows, it's always Fire that's always like constantly changing.
Yeah, Fire definitely, but Fire has a huge cast though.
Yeah, they do.
It's like that's central. Like it's not like extras and secondary. They're all central.
And they try and bring in like, you know, they try and bring in new characters to like mix it up, and then those actors for whatever reason don't work out, or their storyline is supposed to be limited. So it's like they're having to move.
PD really has like 7 mains. That's true. And then secondaries. Chicago Fire legit has like 15
the whole firehouse people. Yeah, because you gotta have like
and then their secondaries are like any significant others or family that aren't in the
you
firehouse.
Gotta have like a certain amount of people on truck and a certain amount of people on squad and a certain amount of people on engine, and especially now that Herman is like the lieutenant on engine, they've had to
so like they added that whole dynamic in there.
Right.
Like,
so it's like they have to have a whole firehouse of people, like at least one shift of that firehouse. I don't know what happens on first or third shift.
You know, like there have been so many jokes over the years about like what's going on these other shifts, like what are they doing? And like they'll bitch about the other shift. It's like
that's like if you sit and you really dissect the layout of the firehouse,
you're just like what the fuck is going on?
There's one bunk room with 2 officers' quarters, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens to those officers' quarters when Matt and Severide like aren't in them? Do other officers use them?
That's what I'm thinking. There has to be more lieutenants.
This isn't real life.
There have to be other officers that work the other shifts.
Because they clearly work together all the damn time.
But all of their stuff, all of like Matt and Kelly's stuff is like in those quarters like permanently. So
like you definitely wouldn't share officers' quarters.
Right. So do they have like other quarters and other parts of the
what
house?
About Bowden? What about Bowden? He's the chief and he only works with that one shift?
You know, I don't know. Sure.
This isn't real life.
It's raising questions that you shouldn't.
We don't want logic.
That's what I'm saying. If you really sit and think about it, there's all these questions. So I try not to sit and think about it.
Yeah.
But
we don't want logic. Logic doesn't exist here.
Fire definitely. There's no logistics in fire.
Right? No.
Listen. Okay. We can do that to PD too. Okay. Like.
Yeah, you can't. Not with intelligence. Because there's only like 6-7 people in the unit plus Hank. So there's no.
How many times have you sent me a photo and there's some rando walking back into one of the offices and you're like, who is that?
Well, let's talk about that office. The office, but like on the bottom floor across from the sergeant's desk. What is that office? They never use it except for like random meetings with random people.
It's the random
supposed
room.
To be like the district commander's.
But it's not. It's only that sometimes.
Okay, but you have to think about it this way. 21st District is not just intelligence. Like, they have the patrolmen.
No, I know.
But I know.
That office on the bottom floor, they just like go into it whenever they want to be alone with somebody.
A head person's office and then use it for random shit in the next episode.
Hey,
it's not real.
Wolf Entertainment, you want to hire us?
We got you.
We got you.
I'm trying to think of Med. I'm sure Med does the same. Okay, like I feel like that was more.
Well, my biggest questions with like any of these shows are like their shifts. So like especially on Med, do all these doctors work the same shifts all the time together?
Yep.
Like they never work with anyone else.
When there's a wedding, it goes like full Grey's Anatomy, and they all have the day off.
Right. Or like I was thinking today, the infection crossover, where like. Some of each show is there and then some of them aren't. So like for Med, like Natalie is there. Was there anybody else from Med like at the game? Just Natalie?
Oh. Wait, wasn't Choi there?
Was he? I don't remember. I remember Severide because he was on the grill.
They're not friends with the others. They just like Natalie.
You know what I'm saying? So I remember Severide was on the grill. And then Matt and Jay were passing the
football. It was mostly Fire because it was our hour, right?
It was mostly PD and Fire, but Atwater was like manning the TV or whatever. So like those are guys from PD and Fire. Was there a guy from Med there at all?
I don't think so. I
think it was just Natalie.
I don't remember seeing Will because
no, he was at the hospital because when they brought the guy to the hospital, he was there working. Was Natalie the only person that had that day off?
That was the day that they decided that everyone wasn't going to have the day off at the same time.
That was the one day?
It was the one day that they decided. that some people had to work even though there was a really big game going on. That's not nearly as important as a wedding when everyone needs the day off, okay?
See, and then my other questions, though, regarding PD are like, okay, well, if Burgess and Atwater and Upton and Halstead are there, where's everybody else? Are they
running that
working?
unit?
Are they like... Are
I'm
they the
running
only
it.
ones working
Keep
in a
talking
television?
about.
I'm running it. Christine's running it.
I mean, like, you know.
Detective. I'd be a great detective. Yeah.
But I got to thinking about it, and I was like, I think Natalie was the only person from Med that was there, and it was just really weird. I was like,
was the only one they could afford.
Right.
Which, if anything, though, it would have made more sense for April because April's more integrated with the fire cast.
Or Will, because his brother was there.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't there.
I was thinking of a female.
Well, true. April is like Severide. Are April
Yeah.
and Severide still friends? By the way, do we like? Have we talked?
Yeah,
about
so
that?
like we got like this random backstory for them.
In Fire, like
They were
on Fire,
friends.
when she was
Like,
on
they were-
season.
They grew up
Three.
together. They grew up in the
Yeah.
same like
Right.
like a really
And the
bad
last time
place.
we- The last time we saw any of that was when Stella was like seriously injured.
Yeah. So that was season 7.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
haven't seen any between that and 7. Was there anything?
When was the
The big
when the
plot with
car
her
when was the car accident one when the car came in through the doors? Because there was some in that.
Oh, okay.
It was a med episode, and when
Yeah.
Severide got there, he kind of like had a momentary freak out about girl being under the car.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. So
I think it's
that's what I'm
one
saying,
of those
just
things that like it's little touches.
whenever they can, they sprinkle it.
Mhm.
It's just interesting.
Which I
Alright,
like.
because it
I
was
like
such
that.
a big deal in season 3. I mean, that plot was like
It's huge.
took up like half of season 3.
hmm
Because they spend a lot of they spend a lot of time just trying to build up these shows, and then like in the very beginning of each one of these shows, like with PD and Med, they spend so much time together to make everybody make sure that they know these
Right.
part of this universe. So you know,
It's
like
still, by the way,
I love all the characters. Okay, I love all of them, even when they make me mad sometimes.
it will never cease to amaze me that they made Voight such a terrible villain in season 1
A fire?
Fire,
Thank you.
and then made him
Thank
like
you.
the central piece of PD. That is
I've had that
all
conversation with
amazing.
Christine. So I'm like, they set him up to be
Like the most awful
biggest-
human being ever.
Yeah. just the biggest pile of shit.
And then they're like, he's in charge of intelligence.
And then they're like they
what?
just like Matt just gets over it.
right. Well,
Like he's just over it. He tormented you for a season
No.
and a half, but
I mean, in season 3, the tension was still very much there because they had that whole stilettos plot, and Matt was like, "I'm
I
not
don't
in the
know.
Voight
It just
business."
wasn't the same for me because
I don't think they really started to do the get over it thing until like
I don't know. It just
season
felt like
5-ish?
Matt legit was like ready to go feral.
Oh yeah, no, he
And
was.
then all of a sudden it was
the
like
building, like
now he's just miffed and he's not going to talk to you.
right, yeah.
And like to me that
No,
just
that was
didn't.
weird.
It was just like, oh shit, guys, we might have gone a little too hard on this. So now we're just gonna have to pull it back and pretend that it wasn't that serious.
Went so hard on making him.
No one
like, the
talks about
most
it.
Horrible person.
It was bad. It was real bad. And like,
Really bad. Like he
I've
was gonna he put out a hit on Matt. He was gonna put out a hit
Right.
on him and have him killed.
you don't forgive that, okay? And they're just like, it's fine. We'll begrudgingly work together. It'll be fine. And then like we're 8
He had
seasons
him like
later.
mugged in an alley. He planted drugs in his
It's fine. It wasn't that serious. He didn't die. It's fine.
no comment.
It's just really funny. It's
Well,
just
and
really
I've
funny to
messaged
me.
Christine so many times. I'm like, why do I hate Voight but also still like him?
Right, that's my yes.
That's
It
like
was like he got on my nerves at some points in this most recent season where he was like so hard on Jay and Haley.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like,
Hey,
why
ease
are
up,
you
man.
so terrible to them?
Yeah. And then he'll do something and he'll be like, man, like he really has their back.
Right. It's like hot and cold. And I'm just, can you just pick a lane and stay in it?
It's so difficult. It's so
Yeah.
difficult.
It's
No.
hard to like him. It's really hard.
But maybe that's the point they're trying to make, that there are some people that like he's in their lives, you know, whether they like it or not, and he doesn't always make the right call and can't be perfect all the time, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently there's like 2 voids. Okay, so we're talking split personality. One calls out hits on people and just completely obliterates any lines between being an officer. Okay, and then the other void, who, you know, he might be a hard ass, but he's got a big heart. And we forget about the void that has people mugged and calls out hits on them.
Or that has like a stash of like stolen money from various, like the rainy day fund. You remember that?
Yep. It's just, you just have to, like, there's no logic. You start watching the show and like, it's like a 3-hour movie every week now since they moved to Wednesdays. And you just kind of have to, like, 8 o'clock rolls around and you just have to throw logic out the window. Logic cannot entertain for the next 3 hours.
I feel like that becomes, I love all 3 shows. I have the hardest time watching Med now. I don't know why. It's so hard for me to watch it. And I get like the characters, I feel like they make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And that applies to all the shows, but I feel like it's more prevalent in Med.
I definitely go back and forth between, like, man, sometimes it's really hard for me to watch PD. And then PD will get better and I'll be like, man, it's really hard for me to watch Med right now. Like, Fire is really the only constant for me. That even when they frustrate me, it's not really enough to have me like frustrated with the show in its entirety. It's just a character or 2.
Right.
But again, that might have to do with there being 15 main characters. So if you don't like what one's doing, don't worry, there's 14 more.
I was just gonna say, because Med and PD both have like a smaller ensemble.
Yeah.
So like when you're mad at someone on Fire, you can be distracted by this character.
The 15 other, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, because there's been episodes where I've been so mad at Herman, but then at the same time there's this other plot happening that I'm really into, so it balances out being mad at Herman, you know, like, or I used to get really mad at Otis sometimes. And there would be another plot that would like distract me from being mad at Otis. So it was like,
I used to get like,
Fire,
I used to get really mad. I've had times where I was just like livid about choices that they had Severide making.
Oh yeah.
Then in Gabby's later seasons, which I know that it was intentional, but when you're watching it live and you're in the moment, there were a lot of times where I was like, wow, I hate her right now.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's normal.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
To have that one show that, you know, you always are drawn to, and then the rest of them are just kind of like that. Like, I'm totally opposite, obviously, from both of you guys. Clearly.
You haven't finished. Have you finished Fire though? Are you caught up on Fire?
I'm almost there.
Okay.
So this is another thing that you guys have to just remember in the back of your head. I know everything that's happened. Like,
right. No, I know. I just didn't know if you had watched all of them yet.
Literally caught. No. I'm like on. Where am I? I'm halfway current season, I think. I should.
Oh, okay.
I'm more behind on Med. And like you guys said, like there's always that one show where it's just like, can't really find myself wanting to catch up for a little bit.
Med has hurt my heart so many times.
I think it's the different showrunners. That might be the case, because it feels a little bit more disconnected than the other 2.
It is at first, but as seasons go on, it definitely gets more. Like, I feel like in Fire, because Fire started it all. In Fire, you really see all of them cross.
Yeah.
And then in PD, after like the first or second season, but PD and Fire were really ingrained too. Like, Med wasn't as ingrained in the beginning as as PD and Fire.
The backdoor pilot for Med, by the way, in season 3 is so different from what the show is now.
Oh my god. It's so different.
Imagine PD's. Like almost like the entire cast was recast.
Yeah,
thanks for reminding me of that. And she reminded me, and I got on like a Scott.
She's so mad. She's so mad because I always get in her head. She's like,
I totally forgot. Right?
She's always getting mad at me because I'm always just like, what if Scott Eastwood was still there?
And I'm like, God damn it!
Scott Eastwood. Oh no, but
I totally forgot because it just was so like
different,
minor, and it was so different that you kind of forget that it started out those people. So I'm like, Scott Eastwood wasn't in that, and she's like, yeah, he was, bitch. And I'll look and I'm like, well, I fucking hate this show now. So.
But no, when I was doing my binge, like my, watching all the seasons, I got to the backdoor pilot for PD and I was like, what is this? Who are, because I'd already seen some of PD.
Your imagination runs wild.
Yeah, and that's what happened to me
weird.
because I watched PD first, and then all of a sudden, well, I mean, I knew exactly where the back pilot was, so and then I read about it. But then actually reading or actually watching it, I was just like, dude, what?
Yeah, I texted my friend Katie.
I know I texted. This was like Leroy's. It was Kevin, and I was just like, oh, where's everybody else?
I texted my friend. I was like, who is this female detective? I don't know this person.
Oh, well, she was in the pilot.
She's told me but she was, but it was still just like, I'd been so long since I'd seen the pilot that I totally forgot. I was like, who is this person?
I didn't have these kinds of opportunities. Okay. I watched it live.
I love how she's looking at me and going, I didn't have these opportunities because she wanted me to watch exactly when she was watching, like when she started it. And
years, Logan, years. I said, you need to watch Chicago. And she's like, it's not really, no.
I couldn't get into Fire early on.
And then after season 8's done, okay, and she gets on her little kick, and I'm just like, I don't even want you to watch it anymore.
Like, I had a grudge against
things that you're telling me. I don't even want you to watch it anymore.
I had a grudge against the Chicago shows for a long time, so I can't really say anything about that.
Because she liked Timeless, and then Timeless.
Yeah, I was real mad at NBC.
Oh, I see. Oh, it was an NBC grudge. I see.
Yeah, it was an NBC grudge, not.
We've all disliked NBC at one time or another.
It was because they kept airing Chicago promos all the time, and they wouldn't air Timeless promos like at all. So my show that I loved was not finding an audience, but Chicago Fire, that already has all the ratings, gets all the promos.
Is that when Fire first started?
No, this was like the promo that I remember the most is the My Miracle promo.
Oh yeah,
being everywhere. It was everywhere, and like Timeless was this show that was like canceled and then revived and then canceled and then they gave us a movie and then it was canceled. And so like, I'm like, can you air some promos? Please, Chicago Fire is fine. You've already renewed it. Can you focus on my show, please? So that created like this resentment in me where I was like, I'm not watching Chicago ever. I used to call NBC nothing but Chicago because there were 3 Chicago shows. And like, are they ever going to have anything else? And then they did Chicago Justice for a season. And I was like, well, now there's 4 Chicago shows.
Don't talk to me about Chicago Justice.
They got such a short end of the stick.
It really did.
Talk to me about Chicago Justice. I'm so sad.
I think that's really, and you know, like, they wrote off Antonio like really quickly, really weirdly, and I feel like
they didn't plan for Antonio.
No, but I feel like they didn't plan for him to come back from Justice. So like when he had to come back from Justice,
it like know what to do. They were like, oh
exactly.
No.
Yeah, I think
that's what I don't know if you guys read what I wrote about Chicago Justice, but I had a whole section of Antonio.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, I was just like, well, I mean, he got the worst of the falls of all the people that, you know.
Chicago is just not, I didn't prepare myself for it until probably like season 3 or 4. It's just not a show. If you're the type of person that when you watch a show like Christine, where you're not going to be able to accept a character leaving, the Chicago series is not for you because it happens all the time. It's never gonna stop. Like at any given time, I'm like, that's it. Like you watch next season, it's gonna be Stella or
if Stella leaves, I will just no.
You know what I mean? Like that's how long do you stay with a series? You know, other opportunities come along.
You stay with it until you die.
This is why you want to get into this.
I'm kidding. But like, just the idea of like Stella leaving makes me upset. I'm already upset about Annie. Can we not? I don't want to put that into the universe.
Right? Like it sucks. But like we have to, like, no, it's not real life. Obviously, it's not real life. It's a TV show. But we have to like. Did I hate it when first of all, I hated what they did to Gabby's character, and then it felt like adding insult to injury by her leaving. So not only did you spend all of this time and energy trashing her and trying to get me to hate her, but then she left. So she didn't have a chance to, I mean, she came back later, but we didn't know when she first left she was going to make reappearance.
Yeah. Right.
So you're like, okay, cool. So I'm supposed to just like be cool with this and all right, cool.
I mean, when I watched season 6, the first thought that I had when all of that Gabby started to like take the nose up, I was like, oh, the writers are doing this on purpose. And I knew she was leaving. And so that was my thought too. I was like, are they doing this because Monica's going to be leaving? And I feel like there, Monica did, she did an episode of like Ellen Pompeo's like video, like she has like a video podcast type thing where she interviews people. And Ellen, she brought up a very interesting point where she was like, it is very hard to leave a show that's such a high rated hit show when you're one of the leads because people don't want you to do it. And so now like a part of me is thinking, did they like try and ruin Gabby maybe to like entice Monica to stay so that they could fix it? And then like Monica just was like, no, I'm leaving.
because when you, if you were leaving and they were ruining your character, like I'd be like, okay, but like, can I fix this before I leave?
I mean, I feel like I would, but
make this better?
Monica is just like so like strong about like moving on from the show, which I commend her for, because I mean it is pretty brave to go from like, this show that's such a hit.
It's a big step, right? Like,
yeah, and if
she's a lead, she's got it. She doesn't.
It would be like me. It would be like me quitting my job right now. That's full time with really great benefits to like do
for the
nothing.
chance,
right?
Something,
add
like
something else, like a slim
really,
chance of
great.
something else.
Like, and look at what she's done. Like,
yeah,
Hightown is like
awesome.
A+.
Amazing.
Oh my god,
so
like.
good.
I want
she's like directing, and she's doing. I mean, you know, she's doing amazing stuff. She's kicking ass. She's like directing for FBI because in New York, like, I mean,
I didn't know she was doing that. That's cool.
Yeah, she directed an episode last season.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for
and
you.
I think she maybe is gonna direct another one. I feel like somebody said that, but I could be wrong. But I know she directed one last season for sure.
Oh, I love Mom.
So,
I love Monica.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just, I feel like it's also an accomplishment to leave a show and still have a good relationship with the producers.
Right, to come back and do her guest spots.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's just impressive. But no, I agree. I feel like in season 6, they were purposefully like writing her a certain way.
Terrible.
Like, why is she doing this?
Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's part of my reasons that I'm not so crazy about Gabby anymore. Is because it's like, it was really hard to watch seasons 5 and 6. Because she did some things in season 5 that bugged me too. But season 6 was just like really like,
they all bugged me. Me. Imagine, like, if you were my friend, if this was real life and you were a friend of mine, I'd smack you.
Yeah, exactly. And like, they also had like this one episode that really made me mad. There was the episode where like with Bria, one of the first like Bria episodes where Gabby was like cutting Matt out of it. And she got Severide involved, and they both told Matt, like, you don't like to be involved with people. And you're like, what? Which Matt Casey do you know? Because it's not this Matt Casey.
I remember being more mad that she was involving Severide, and I was like, he doesn't need your nonsense, okay? He's got other things going on.
That episode, I just remember being like, these people are supposed to be like the closest people to Matt in the world, and I'm like, do you know him?
That was so weird.
It was so weird. It was just like, I don't understand.
There's a lot of characters when it comes to like character departures. There's a lot about a character stuff that's happening.
Yeah, it was just there were a bunch of weird things.
Question, like, why do you expect me to believe this?
Yeah,
that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, but then at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't believe this, and then I just kind of just like retcon it in my head. I'm like, no,
there you go, headcanons. They fix everything.
I put in her head the other day by total accident. She was watching Med, and I was like, oh man, you're taking me back to like the beginning Med days. I was like, you know who I like? It never happened. Nothing ever happened, and it was never going to happen. But in my head, I was like, you know who'd be really cute? Sarah and Connor. And she goes, oh my god, you're the worst. Like she was like all about it. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought it was just me. I just like,
that's like, no.
The man was with some crazies.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like there was nobody, everybody was paired off already, right? Everyone's paired off. So it's just like,
I was like, they would have been so cute. It's just like, great. Just what I needed. Another ship that never sailed.
She and I talked about how like in my head, Pete doesn't stay in North Carolina because like he's Peter Mills. He's not going to be in a restaurant for the rest of his life.
This one too. I blame Logan for this one too. Let her finish.
Yeah. And so like I've told her, I said in my head he goes off to Puerto Rico and he and Gabby reconnect and they live happily. That's in my head, right?
Okay. Because
I never thought about that.
Right?
Fuck
So
you.
there's no way that Peter Mills stays at that restaurant in North Carolina forever.
I always thought that
way.
I always thought that was terrible anyway, because I'm like, he's not gonna like it.
No, yeah, he's gonna miss being, he's an adrenaline junkie
He
like all the rest of them.
struggled with that the whole time.
Yeah.
And every time when it came down to the line, he chose fire.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
Man.
So in my head, he ends up down in Puerto Rico.
That's killer.
Too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would love that.
I was already at that point when she told me this. I was just like, nope, pure Dossie. And then she told me that, and I was like, fuck! And then it brought me back to how I felt in the first season, and I was like, dude, okay, I really want Dossie to be together, but fucking Peter and Gabby, I just need them to keep it.
I loved Peter and Gabby so much.
I was like, why?
I loved them so much. I was so mad at Pete when he broke up with her. I was like, are you stupid?
And I'm like, are you dumb? Look at her.
I always have that one. There's always just like that one ship though, like before the main ship that happens. This is what I realized.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chicago ships. I always have that one ship beforehand.
She sends me a picture yesterday. What you send me a picture of? And before you even were done, you're like, I know. Don't even comment on it. I'm sorry.
It was Kelly and Brittany.
Oh, yeah.
Get the fuck out.
They were actually cute.
I don't care. I don't care.
All right.
But she knew. She sent it, right? And she's like, oh, they were actually kind of cute. And like immediately after it sent, she goes, never mind. I know. Don't even comment on it. I'm like, yeah. You don't want to get in the Stellar Ride conversation with me.
Hey, I bounced back and I sent you a picture of Jay.
You did, and I was gonna make a snarky comment about that because she came to me the other day and she's like, no, it's fine. I'm fine now. I'm just never gonna care about the characters again. I don't care. And then she's like, ooh, look at Jay.
That doesn't mean I don't care. Or that doesn't mean I care.
You care.
No, I don't. That's my difference. Like the later seasons, I just don't care. I really don't. There are certain characters that I do care for still, and Jay's not one of them.
You're so angry with him.
I'm so angry. No,
and like
angry.
I try to be like Christine. Like I get you. I was a hardcore Linstead chipper. I was right there with you. I think honestly, like I think the majority of Chicago PD watchers were Linstead chippers.
Well, it was hard not to be.
Like that was it, right? Like if you're watching it live and you're watching it week to week and you're in season 2, you're in season 3, you have no idea that like what's gonna happen in the future, you have no idea that she's leaving, of course you're going to ship that. I feel like it's not nice of me to say, but if there are people out there who say they didn't, I feel like you're lying. Because that was the main ship on the show.
And the chemistry was like off the charts.
It was, and it was a great relationship. So like I'll talk to Christine and she'll be like, that's it. I'm gonna go talk to my Linstead friends. And I'm like, I'm not against them. I just had to move on from them. Like, you're breaking my heart by reminding me how great. I don't need you to tell me how great they were. I know how great they were. She's not ever coming back.
Unfortunately,
and I still want to watch romance on TV. So in that instance, I'm gonna need to accept that Jay's gonna move on because I want some lovin's.
Can I talk?
No. Go for it.
Fuck you. This is not how I feel anymore after a month. That's not how I feel.
No.
You don't know because I've been talking to you about it.
And I'm very proud of you for not hating Haley anymore. But I don't see that you've changed extensively on the Linstead ship.
So? What's wrong with that?
That's what I was saying.
Okay, but still though, like that doesn't mean that I hate. Okay, I'm not at that point where I'm like I hate Upstead. I'm not gonna accept it anymore. It's gonna happen. Like I've gotten to that point where it's like it's gonna happen. Season 8 is gonna happen. Whatever it is, whatever step they make, it's gonna happen. It's not like I can stop it. It's not like I can go, hey Dick Wolf, stop.
You wish you could.
I would if I could, but it's not gonna happen. I would be like, hey, Dick Wolf, can you put her back with Adam? It's not gonna happen. Like that's just what I want. That's clearly what I care for. It's like I care for Upsec. I do. Like I'm one of the minority that actually does, and she hates me for it. She just is like, oh,
I don't hate you for it. It just hurts my heart that you're against Burzette.
I'm sorry. It's not my fault that they fucking kept going back and forth and just wouldn't get back together.
I know they need to get their shit together, okay? It's gonna happen.
This is my thing with with PD, I ship all the things.
I know.
Like,
I know. It's hard. They make it difficult.
I like, because
Okay,
when Upsec was happening, I was like, oh my gosh, this is surprisingly cute. I actually really like this. And
I was okay with it when it was casual sex.
But at the same time, like I like Upstead. I like Burzek. I like Linstead. I'm basically whatever. The only ship that you will never be able to take from me is Rowater.
Oh,
if you try to take Rowater from me,
Christine's not about them.
See, okay,
what?
wait. She thinks she knows because
You just told me.
What?
It was not long ago, and you're like, yeah, no.
Yeah, but it wasn't long ago when I actually hated Upstead, and now I'm actually okay with it. So hey, how's that? You're not letting me talk.
Okay.
Okay. She looks around.
Let's go. Come on.
Oh my god. Okay, wait. So I was saying the other day, not to you clearly, I was saying it to some of my other friends the other day. I was just like, I'm okay. Like, you know that I'm actually okay with Upstead. I'm actually okay with them. Actually, I love them being friends. Like, that's my thing. It's just like, I love them being partners. I love them being like the best friends that they are. But I'm still not on board with them when it comes to like the romantic chemistry because I just don't see it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't mean that I just don't. That obviously it's gonna happen. I'm gonna tolerate it. So I'm at that point where I'm just like I'm gonna tolerate it no matter what. Like if anything, at least it's better than I don't know. I can't even think about anybody right now. Like Camilla. Like imagine if Camilla was like a series regular or something, and I'm just like, oh yeah, see anything better than that. So I'm okay with it. Whatever, it happened. Like Upsec broke up. Fucking Winstead's gone. Okay, whatever. But I don't care. Like I'm just gonna let it happen. But I'm just not invested.
That's how I feel about Bretonio. When I was doing my rewatch, it's like, I mean,
I'm not invested. Yeah,
I'm not invested in it, but it's okay.
It's just like Bretzy, you know. Like I'm not gonna be invested in that. I'm not.
Oh, see, I'm hyper invested.
I'm against it. If anything, honestly, I am. But that doesn't mean that I can't accept you shipping it. That doesn't mean I can't accept Sarah shipping it.
Yes.
That doesn't mean I can't.
We have lots of conversations where we talk about Dossie, you know, because again, I never disliked them. I just am able to move on from them.
You can hold more than one ship in your head at one time.
Right. And so we've had Linstead conversations and Upset, like it's not going to tarnish our friendship. Like, and we talked about this on another podcast about why are we arguing and hating on each other online like 12-year-olds about fictional, like there's nothing in that makes sense for you to go online to become a keyboard warrior and act extremely immature and trash someone and be rude to them unnecessarily over a fictional relationship just because you don't like it and they do. Like that's literally like my brain can't even wrap around the mentality of being like that to someone else. Mm-mm. Like she ships Linstead and she's gonna ship Linstead forever. And when she writes a Linstead article, I'm gonna share the shit out of it and talk about how awesome it is.
And that's my point. That's my point. It's like it's hard for me to find. That's why I joked around and I was just like, I'm gonna go to my Linstead friends because it's
we like to fuck with each other. So
yeah, no, whatever we're saying right now is not. It's fake. Her and I have been friends for like 3 years. Like,
well,
whatever we're talking to each other right now, like the shit talking that we're doing, it's just totally
we just shit talk.
I mean, everybody does that with their friends.
Yeah, right.
We just like insult each other. But no, I mean, I agree that it is ridiculous but here's my opinion. Talk more about the things that you love and less about the things that you hate.
Yeah.
Because what is that doing for anybody?
Right. If I genuinely did not like Linstead and I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw a Linstead article, I'm not going to share it and trash on it. I'm not going to comment under it. If I really truly don't like them, I'm probably just not going to read it.
Right. Exactly. Going to ignore it.
And it's really bad because it's gotten to that point where it's just like I do want, like now I actually do want Haley on my screen. Like I actually do want Haley on my timeline. I want to see all that shit. But it's gotten to the point where I had to mute these words because of the people that are on those hashtags, on those, like, you know, it's just I can't go on Twitter or like on Tumblr without seeing some hate. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like that was the problem from the get-go. Like, I could be a Linstead shipper, but don't give me shit about it and don't start comparing them because they're two different ships.
Exactly.
And, you know, I admit it. Like, I was, back then, I was just, like, pro Linstead, and I was just totally, like, anti-Upstead. I just couldn't accept anything just because it was just raw.
But were you going on Upstead articles and trashing them or fighting with Upstead shippers? No.
That's the
See,
thing.
that's
Was that
the difference.
difficult for you to do? Was it difficult for
That's
you
the
to
difference.
scroll past those things? No.
It's called I just keep going.
Right.
You just keep going. But it's
And
that, you know, like I write about Upsec, and then all of a sudden I get crap for it. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry that I actually like them. That doesn't mean I'm right.
Right. Well,
Like,
there's not a right or wrong. Okay, here's the thing that gets me. With shipping, there is not a right or wrong. You like these two characters together. You like these two characters together. Maybe it doesn't actually happen on the show. That doesn't mean you're wrong to ship it.
Yeah.
Maybe it did happen on the show.
Be over here.
Now. That doesn't mean
I'm gonna be over here on my little tugboat shipping Connor Rhodes and Sarah Reese. Okay, it never happened. It was never. I don't think that was ever part of any kind of plan. Mm-hmm. I just thought they were cute together. Their personalities look good, and I got Christine to, you know, join me on there. I don't care that other people don't shit. I do. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've watched so many shows where I've watched so many shows. There's like been shows that I've watched where I want to ship two characters who never even meet. That's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Because I spent all 10 years with Hawaii Five-0. Sarah knows this. That was actually my show for 10 years. Actually a little bit less because I started shipping Perspective. I shipped Perspective when two characters left. So it's kind of similar territory when it comes to Chicago and with Sophia and like with John Seda leaving and everything. I kind of stopped caring in the same way. But there was always that one ship that never got together at all. It wasn't even close, like not even close to getting together. Like there was like probably like little subtle hints in season 1. And then from season 2 on, she got paired off with somebody else. And then she remained with that person until she left. And then from there, I was just like, I'm just not going to ship anybody else because that's just who I started with. And that's kind of like how I am. And that's probably why I'm still pro Linstead for right now. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to go off and be all like, well, you know, she's going to come back one day and then she's going to be endgame with Jay. Clearly, that's not going to happen.
But, and the thing is, though, if it does, it does.
Yeah.
And right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You don't deserve hate in the meantime. Just like she wrote that Linstead article, and like I genuinely reached out and I was like, please, I want to understand. I want to understand what you are personally gaining from being a trash human.
Yeah. Oh no, I got some of that with the Bretzi article. So I know.
I want to understand what you think you're getting out of that. Like, why? You're gonna reach out and you're gonna be like, I wanted to do a little experiment where like I wanted Christine to do. I was hoping she would like be able to like Upset enough that I could have her do like a Linstead article and then an Upset article, just so she could have these people be like, she writes her Linstead one, they're like, you're a terrible writer, you're the worst, and all this shit, and then she writes the Upset one, they're like, oh, this is such a wonderful article, I love it so much. Like, just because I wanted to see the same people pull that shit, just because, like, what are you getting out of it?
The people who hated on that
as a friend, or as friends, so I can write that.
The people who hated on that article probably didn't even read it, is the thing. And that's like every single person that had a negative comment for my Bretzi article, they didn't read it. They just didn't like that it was about Bretzi. That's all it was.
She made a point. You made a point in your Linstead article not to trash Upset.
Oh, I did.
And I made a point in my Upset article, not only to not trash Linstead, but to say, hey, I'm over here. I'm also a Linstead shipper. I'm both, like.
Yeah. No, that's what you guys. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think anybody really read it because I didn't trash anybody.
No, you didn't. I read it. It was a good article.
I didn't trash anybody.
And I went out of my way to be respectful to Gabby, even though I have my own issues with her. I went out of my way.
Respectful to Upstead.
To like really handle her with care because I do like Gabby.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. This is the other thing.
Well, and then Christine had the Upzek article too.
Yeah.
Isn't that the same thing that we're talking about?
Well, I was thinking of your Linstead one.
No, I didn't.
She did one. She did one that was like why I ship Upzek and Linstead.
Oh, okay, right. Okay,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
My Linstead articles were okay. They weren't touched. They got nothing.
It was the Upzek one. The Upzek and that one was like. the
it's
big
the
deal.
headline, and
that was a good article.
really got him.
This is the thing with fandoms, it's gotten to where you cannot be friends with people who have differing perspectives. It's like, because I have
really
there's
true,
this
guys.
right. I have a mutual that, you know, we follow each other on Twitter. She all the time says that she ships both Dossie and Brettsy. She likes both, and people tell her all the time, you can't do that. And
you can do whatever you want.
Why can't you do that? You can do whatever. Yeah,
I like both.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Like
it's gotten to where fandoms think you have to be in one lane or the other.
Yeah.
You can't be in both.
Now granted, if Gabby was still in Fire, I don't think that I would like both.
Oh no.
Just
we
because
we wouldn't have Brettsy if Monica didn't leave Fire. I am well aware of that.
If you ship a couple and half of that couple leaves and you find that you're liking them with someone else, it's okay to ship both. Like
yeah, exactly. And that's and here's the thing: nobody needs to remind Brettsy shippers that Matt loved Gabby. Nobody needs to remind them that they would still be together had Monica not left. We all know this. We are well aware because we didn't get a single crumb of anything until season 7, which was the first season the show didn't have Monica. We are all very well aware. So you don't need to tell us this every time we tweet something. So
there are some people out there who still ship Matt with Hallie.
Yeah. I love Matt and Hallie.
Me too.
Matt and Hallie. I still do.
Is that not okay? Like, how come nobody trashes on that?
Exactly. Yeah, that's my.
Did Gabby's character need to die for them?
Matt has said one time on the show, Matt did say that if Hallie were alive, they would still be together. He thought he was going to be with her forever.
Forever.
So
why is it any different?
Yeah, that's the thing with Linstead too. It's like clearly they were the original Endgame, right? Like Gabby wasn't even around until season 4. So if anything, it's not like my feelings came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, it's there. Like, obviously it was there. Like, you spent 4 seasons fucking, like, rooting for these guys and expecting them to be Endgame. They moved in together, and then all of a sudden she leaves, you know? So it's just
he was gonna propose.
Yeah, he was gonna propose.
And then you got people up my ass and just being all like, they're not gonna be Endgame. I'm like, yeah, I get that.
No shit.
See, and this is the other thing. Why can't you like a ship?
Yeah.
Even if it's not going to be Endgame.
Yeah.
What does that matter? It doesn't invalidate your ship just because they're not going to be Endgame.
I can like all the ships. All of them.
Yeah.
I personally wanted to like Upstead. Like, I did. I was at that point where, like, I need to like them because everybody else liked them. Can I like them too? And then I started watching it and I was just like, I just don't see it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's how I feel.
That's fine.
That's how I feel about Dossie.
For it. Yes.
Well, and I'm sure
exactly
that there are people out there who, because of Chicago Fire being such a big cast, maybe there are people out there who didn't like Dossie. Maybe they were like, I wish Hallie never died.
I didn't like. Look, here's the thing. I love Matt
Dossie that much until
I love Matt and Gabby as friends. Like when they were friends and before they really started dating, I loved them. They were so fun.
I did. Their friendship was so much fun.
It was so much fun. And then when they started dating, it was like the writing changed. Like Gabby became this totally different person with him. And I didn't like that. So I don't like them as a pair. I like them as individuals. I like them when they have those genuine friendship moments. But when they get into like the relationship stuff, I'm not a fan. I'm not. I mean, I feel like she mistreated him a lot, but I admit I am very biased toward Matt Casey. So, you know, that's just how I view the show.
Yeah, and that's the point that I'm trying to make too. It's like, you know, obviously Logan thinks differently than I do. Like I'm biased over Gabby. So it's just like it's a big 180 when it comes to that. So, but I'm not over here being all like, wait, hold on, you're wrong. You know, like, I'm not like that right now. I'm sitting. I'm listening to what you're saying. I am absorbing what you're saying. And in a lot of ways, there are some times where I'm just like, no, that's true. That's true. And, you know, like, even if you do ship 2 people, you could always just be like, well, yeah, that's true. That one person is an asshole. Like, I was literally just talking, when I was doing my podcast with Kim, like the Female Spell podcast, we were talking about One Tree Hill. And then we were talking about how we were both latent shippers. But then we both said, but Lucas is an asshole. Lucas is an asshole. So is Peyton. And they deserve each other because they're assholes. Like, Brooke did not deserve that. And no one's gonna be all like, well, hold on, you're wrong though. Like I'm not gonna let everybody go like, wait, you're wrong, because
no one's wrong.
No one's
Right.
wrong. No one's wrong. That's the point. Like no one's wrong.
Yeah.
We could think the way we do, and be civil about it, and be like us, like the three of us, and just talk about like how we feel, and then no one's gonna have to agree.
And also, let's talk about the fact that it's not a character doesn't have to be perfect to be likable. You can say
none of them are perfect.
Right, exactly. You can say,
not perfect.
I like this character, but in this instance, they were a jackass. Like, you can say that. That is okay. Like, this is my thing with with women being pitted against women, whether it's Aaron and Haley or Gabby and Sylvie. Yeah. It's this attitude, like, because they have to tear down the other so that theirs looks good. Why? Why do you have to do that? Both characters have flaws. Neither one of them is perfect. So why do we feel like we have to make this one look worse to make this one look better? You don't have to do that. You can say, I like Gabby. I feel like she made some mistakes, but I can also say, I love Sylvie, but Sylvie has definitely made some mistakes. I can say both those things, and they're both true.
I love Severide and I love Celeride, but Severide has made a lot of mistakes. A lot. Like multiple mistakes per episode for the past 7 years type of deal, okay? But I still love his character, and I love how he's evolved and how he's changed and how being with Stella has changed him. Like, nothing to me, in my opinion, will ever be more epic than him literally telling Stella, I decided that you deserve a better man. So I also have decided that I'm going to be a better, like, that's huge. Like, that's perfect. That's so important. Like, like he's realized, like, okay, I've messed up. Like, I've messed up a lot, and I acknowledge that you don't deserve that, and I acknowledge that you deserve better than that. But I love you so much, and I don't want to let you go. That I've also acknowledged that I'm going to be the man that you deserve. Like, that's huge character evolution. And there's still people that will trash on him.
And that was the point Logan was making too, about like Aaron and Haley, and then like Sylvie and Gabby. Oh, you guys have to remember, Gabby and Sylvie were actually best friends.
Yeah, they are.
But see, that's what they use, right? They say
use the girlfriend code. The girlfriend code.
Right, and like, guess what? In real life, have you ever watched a girlfriend code deteriorate? Because I've seen it happen plenty of times. I have had friends end up with my exes, and guess what? I'm okay with it because I didn't want him.
Okay, yeah. So people can have different perspectives, and that's actually a good perspective. Like that.
Yeah. Well, even Monica.
If you walk away.
Here's the thing.
He's now off limits to any woman you've ever been friends with?
Right, exactly. Well, Monica said in one of her interviews, she was like, Gabby knew when she walked away from him that one of the consequences would be that he might move on. And she said both of them are adults. They can be in whatever relationship they want. And if they make each other happy, good for them. Like, even Monica said this in an interview.
Well, and a lot of times, like, what I've seen in real life happen is when someone leaves like that, the people closest to that person, or even if someone passes away or whatever, they're going to bond over them leaving.
Yep.
Right? Like,
yeah.
One of the most, like, the biggest examples I can think about is when Shania Twain went through all of her stuff with her husband. Okay?
That is that's a great
Her
example.
husband cheated on her with her best friend. Okay. Yep. And so then what happened, right? They get divorced. So her and the best friend's husband bonded over what that felt like and their emotions, and they went through that journey together, and they fell in love.
Yes, they did.
So to me, breaking the girl code was when she cheated on her own husband with her best friend's husband. That was breaking girl code. Shania getting with best friend's now ex-husband, that was not breaking girl code. That's the best example I will ever think of.
That's true.
Well,
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, then the thing is, there is a divorce, like, that's canon. Gabby sent the papers. That's actually canon as well. So it's not like it was an unwilling thing on either side. I mean,
both made that decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like he's turned around and immediately jumped into the bed with Sylvie. it's been a long time. Yes. I mean, Gabby came back and they jumped back into bed together. There's always going to be love between them, and there's always going to be respect between them, and there's always going to be a connection between them. But their paths are going different ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. They're just going in, and like people are saying that Gabby's gonna, like, Monica's coming back to the show. Okay, personally, I don't see it, because she might come back for guest stints. I absolutely believe that. I have a very hard time believing that she's had this much success with Hightown and being away from Chicago, and made points about saying not living in Chicago for her to come back as a regular. But whatever, if that happens, okay, that happens. I'm sure they'll make a storyline out of it. Mm-hmm. But for right now, as we're all watching, I'm okay with seeing Matt get with someone else. And if he's going to get with someone else, who was that chick? The reporter chick?
Naomi.
Did not like.
I actually didn't mind Naomi.
Did not like.
A lot of people don't like her.
I don't know what it was about her. I can't. I was like, no,
very abrasive. I
was like, don't accept. Do not like. But the thing is, though, you do have to accept. She was good for Matt.
She was good for Matt.
Right? Like, safe. Can be kind of quiet Matt. Let people walk on him. Like, did spontaneous things. He walked on the edge a little bit more with her.
That's true. And he'd gotten very serious and very somber, because he wasn't. If you watch the early seasons, he was not this like serious guy he is now. And so with her, he smiled and he laughed and he flirted, and it was really nice. That's why I didn't hate her, because I was like, look at him, he's so happy.
Yeah, I was like, do not like.
Happy. I'm like Sylvie, and when Gabby comes back, after she's talking to Foster, and she's like, he looks happy, and that makes me happy. That's me with Matt Casey, like, all the time.
And that's fine. Right.
So, but I mean, yeah, exactly. That's the thing that really bothers me, is like, when you're pitting women against women in a ship war, why don't people ever pit the guys against each other? Can I ask that question? Like,
well, it's the same thing as, say a guy is with someone and he's cheating on her with another woman, and the woman finds out. Does she go after him? No, she attacks the woman.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, what if the other woman didn't even know?
Yeah.
Well, that's like, if you think about, okay, let's think about this. Dawsey and then Mills and Dawson. There was a while there right before he left where it was sort of almost a little love triangle-y.
Oh, I'm actually at that point right now in my rewatch.
Right.
Yeah.
Did people tear down Matt or Pete in order
Not that I recall.
Yeah, exactly. So why are we doing that with Sylvie and Gabby? Why? We don't need to. Why are we doing that?
I get that you're mad. Like, I get you're mad, okay? Your favorite left, you're mad. You're pissed off. You're pissed off at the show. That's okay. Please don't go so far as to send death threats to the actors and the producers
to get them fired.
Yeah, that's out of line. No.
Or create petitions to get people fired.
Like, at least 2 to get Kara Kilmer fired.
You can be mad. It's okay to be mad, but be an adult about it.
Yeah, like, use me as an example. Like, when Aaron, like,
you have done.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm actually at that point where I'm just like, dude, you're right. If Haley was there, or no, if Aaron stayed and Haley was still around, they would be best friends. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually at that point where I'm like, why were we robbed? Like, I would have wanted that so bad. They would have been the best partners ever. Would there be any upset there? No. Maybe. There could be. You don't know. Like, they're doing the whole love square anything anyway. So I'm pretty sure it might happen. But, like, that doesn't mean that, like, we could obviously just like these girls and not be pitted against each other. Like, there's nothing.
Right.
There's no reason for Aaron and Haley really to be pitted against each other, because.
No, they liked each other.
They liked each other. Yeah, I see that now. The only thing that I could see, like, just as my perspective, like, they would be pitted against each other is because Haley got. I still see it as to the point where she just stepped into her shoes. Like, she was really just, like, partnered with him right off the bat, and was just.
She didn't handle that well.
They did not. No. That's my issue. It's not the actor's fault. It's the writers. Whoever decided to write it that way is just it's their fault. And I admit that I was biased and I was really pissed off at that point where I was just like, it's Haley's fault. I said that. And Sarah's laughing because it's true.
She did say that.
I did say that. But I look at it now and
But you didn't say that it was Tracy's fault.
No, I didn't. I said it was Haley's fault.
Yeah. She's like Haley came in.
Well, I mean, it's true. They didn't handle that well.
No, they didn't.
They didn't.
But you handled it like an adult. Like, you got mad about the character and the way the character was written.
Yeah.
And even then, though, you still didn't go online and trash anyone or anything. You and I talked it out.
Yeah.
And you went to your Linstead friends and you talked it out with them.
Well,
yeah,
see,
they were sure about it too. They're like
similar to that. If you go and you find my tweets from my first like watch through of Chicago Fire, there's going to be some inflammatory tweets about Gabby in there. Because initially the knee-jerk reaction, because again, I will say again, I am very biased toward Matt Casey. I'm very protective of Matt Casey. So my first watch through is going to be very much like,
well, and like I also like, I love, we have three different perspectives, right? Like, you two both binge watched, but Logan watched it backwards.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So you have a perspective of someone kind of watching this in reverse, but binge watching it all at once.
Like, I knew where they were going to end up, so then I had to see how they got there.
And then Christine watched it in the correct order, but she binge watched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So whereas I had months to deal with Aaron leaving, the next episode played in a few minutes. So she didn't have that time.
Yeah, that's true.
To process it, because it just
Aaron left was weird.
It was a strange. It was a strange time for Chicago
PD in general doesn't handle characters leaving or dying very well.
But in their defense, it doesn't happen as often as the other ones.
That's true.
But in my defense too, like, even though I only had a few minutes to spare, I still went into it knowing what happened.
So, right, but what I mean, like, is that you knew it was going to happen and you knew that it was coming.
But you didn't have a lot of time to cope.
Right, like, you were still dealing with, like, you were falling more and more in love with her every episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though you knew it was coming, you were like, oh my God, I love her. Oh my God, I love her. And then, like, it just happened and you're like, are you fucking serious?
That's true. But everybody
So,
has,
like, even though you knew it, it was just like, it was just,
but,
you know.
I mean, my point is, if you looked at, there are some very inflammatory tweets that I have tweeted about Gabby Dawson. But since then, I have come to a place with Gabby where, like, I can acknowledge that she's badass. I mean, and she knows what she wants and she goes and gets it, which is very admirable for a woman to do.
The whole Puerto Rico thing, like, kudos to her.
Yeah, there is nothing in Gabby that says I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy to me. As a woman, like, there are things that I'm like, no, I can't do that. There is nothing in Gabby that ever says that. She can do it, and she's going to do it. Mm-hmm. And nothing's going to get in her way. I can admire that about Gabby while also saying that I don't think she understands what a marriage is. I can have those two thoughts at once and not be entirely dismissive of Gabby. And I've come to realize that about myself, that I can like Gabby and not like her with
something
Matt.
Right.
Me. That's me with Haley.
Yeah, exactly. So I've had a similar journey, just with different characters.
Yeah.
Right.
If you look at my too, I was always just like, nope, I'm not going past season 4. Nope, I'm not.
She's done well.
So we talked about how I watched the show in reverse, right?
Yeah.
So initially I was like, I'm going to watch season 8, season 7, season 6, seasons 5, season 4, season 3, and then I'm going to stop. I'm not going to watch season 1 and 2 because I'm just going to watch Sylvie Brett. I don't really want to see how Gabby started.
Yeah.
And but I changed my mind. So I got to season 3 and I was like, no, now I have to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I think if I hadn't done that, I would not have come around on Gabby because I really loved her in seasons 1 and 2, and that informed everything else that came after. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
if I didn't watch Jay in that episode where he was married, because I didn't go past that, like, for the first time. Sarah knows this. Like, I went, it was like a couple episodes before that, and I stopped. I was like, I don't want to know because I want to be happy. You changed
a lot.
Yeah, I want to be happy. And then, like, past that, obviously comes the Haley episode, like, where she first appears. And at first, I was just like, no, still not feeling it. And then I kept watching, as the seasons go on, and I was just like, oh shit, I see it. I see what everybody likes about her. Not Upstead, but her.
Her.
She's never gonna join that ship.
Huh?
You're never gonna jump on that ship.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't see it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't see it happening, and that's okay.
I don't see it either. Yeah, and that's okay. Like, but at least I've gotten to that point where I'm just like, I accept it. If it happens, I accept it. I'm just gonna turn the other way and not watch it. I'm just gonna be like, let me know when the scene's done.
She'll text me and be like, "Are they done yet?"
Are they done yet? Because I'm not watching at the moment. And then no, but I've gone so far to where it's just like I am in love with Haley. She's not my number one, but I'm in love with her. And I'm actually more in love with her than I am Kim now. Which is
Oh, Kim's had a rough time of it.
Oh.
But like, you know, and I love Upstead as friends. Like, they're amazing as friends. We never got to see that really a lot with Aaron and Jay. They cut a lot of their scenes up, and it pisses me off. Like,
and they didn't have, like, they were in a relationship. Oh God, it was forever ago. They were in a relationship fairly early on in the first season, right?
Yeah, well, kind of. No, it was established that they both liked each other really early on.
Right. Okay. We didn't watch like what we're watching with Upstead right now is years of friendship.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're in like year 3, year 4 of friendship.
Year 4 now, yeah.
We're watching the foundation to a relationship get built. It wasn't really fair that we didn't get to, like, that's one of my favorite things, right? Is watching them be friends and then like slowly build that, like, are we gonna risk our friendship and try this relationship? Like, I loved Aaron and Jay, but I also would have really loved to see a foundation of friendship for a few years develop between them and then watch a few years of their romance. Like, I think that would have been really, like, I don't know, that would have been really icing on the cake.
But also the show changed a lot after Sophia left. Like it was almost a totally different show.
That's true.
And so like the way they handled relationships was different then too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that particular crew, we never would have got, if that same crew that was handling it early on was handling it now, we wouldn't get Upstead the way we've been getting Upstead. Right. It would be very different.
And that's one of the things that I read about, like, with Sophia getting all pissed off with all of her scenes with Jay getting cut up. Like, they weren't in the final cut. And so that means that there were a lot of personal scenes that they had that just didn't make it on the show. And I was really just stalking through to their tweets, and I saw, like, way past, like, in the past, like in probably like 2016, she was getting all pissed off. She was like, Jesse, did you see this? Like, it wasn't up there. And you start seeing that, like, almost every week. And I'm like, how much of this shit are they cutting? And those they're like essential scenes. It's like, if you really just think about it, they're not the perfect couple because of the fact that we're not seeing anything. And that's what pisses me off, because everybody starts giving me crap about, like, well, Upstead's better because you actually see her being there for her and stuff like that. I'm like, well, you guys have to think about it. The dialogue speaks for itself, like, in the past, like, 4 seasons alone. Like, they were there for each other. We just didn't see it. That's the thing.
Your article pointed out something too, that, you know, when Sophia was on the show, Jesse, his character was not like a main character. Mm-hmm. He was a recurring, like, side character. So most of his plot was her plot. So they're only going to show him in relation to her. Whereas now he is a main character, so they're going to show that relationship with a focus on him. So that's an entirely different, you know, way to handle that story. So it is going to seem more just because it's more focused on Jesse. I mean, that's just
that and the fact
that's a good point.
They never got the chance. They never got the chance because Sophia left.
Right.
They never got the chance to really explore Jay's side.
Yeah.
With Sophia there.
Yeah.
Aaron there. Yeah. I keep mixing the.
Yeah. No, I get that, and I thought that when I read your article, that was a really interesting point, because it's true. I mean,
it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
Like we said, we're not always right, but that point is true.
Well, I mean,
I forgot to explore that side with Aaron there. That's
what I really like about this is that we all, like she said, we all have different perspectives, every single one of us.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say that you can listen to someone else's perspective and find sense there and still believe what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
That's
don't.
kind of my favorite part. Like, I love that the 3 of us are doing this.
Right.
Because we all have 3 different perspectives and we all watched it 3 different ways. And yet here we are getting along and finding things to agree on and respectfully disagreeing at other times. Like it's not impossible. It's not even hard.
Nope. All while drinking alcohol.
All while drinking alcohol.
I think that alcohol would get into a fight, you know, because that's like common sense, obviously. Like if you're like having a conversation like this and you're drinking,
I get sassy
fighting
when
your
I'm drinking
right now.
Especially because like Christine's got whiskey over there.
I'm sipping it. I want to down it. What does that mean? That means if I downed it, I would have fought you.
Oh no! I was making the point that most people, when they drink whiskey, they do want to fight.
Oh yeah, I know.
God, see, like right there. You just attacked me, okay?
But this is the thing.
There's the whiskey.
You. I'm allowed to attack.
There it is.
You're my best friend. I'm allowed to attack her.
As you know, I do to you. We do it all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like,
but
ask poor Logan or the rest of our writers. We do it all the time.
All the time.
I was gonna say earlier in our Slack channel, I was gonna be like, Christine, we need to stop fighting in front of the children.
It's one of those, like, I like to call it like a love-hate friendship where you ship it. You just do, because they banter.
All day, every day.
Yeah. All day, every day.
But it's funny because our banters change. Especially now.
What?
Our banters change. Like our topics of bantering change.
Oh, the topics? Oh yeah, they change all the time. Yeah.
Last month I was bantering you about hating Upstead. Now I'm just like, can I have Haley and Aaron together?
Yep.
I swear.
And then we also just banter about random shit, and Christine's not nice to me.
Hey, you asked for it. So
I do. I literally ask for it.
Yeah. So, but see, like, everybody can get along like we do. I mean, you know.
It's really, like, not only is it not hard, but, like, I find that our friendship is almost stronger than other friendships that I've had because we are able to talk like this about things that we disagree on. It makes it better.
Right.
Like, I feel closer with Logan because we're able to talk about stuff.
I feel closer for the two of you guys combined because you guys share a lot of the same worst perspective than I do. Because you guys, you know, you guys are shipping at the same people.
Right.
But, like, and I used to think I need to find the people that have commonalities with me. Like, you know, I need to find people that ship Linstead still. I need to find people that agree with me when it comes to Upstead and stuff like that. But
I think a lot of that comes from trying to prevent hate coming your way.
That's that's the thing. You just have to find, like, people. Obviously, everybody can do this. Like, you just have to find the kindness in your heart and just find, like, the right people to really just talk to them about it.
Well, I think one of the good things about different perspectives is that when you get down about the show, the person who doesn't have the same perspective as you can point out, hey, these are the good things that are still happening. I mean, you know, I think that's
not a lot of people have that network though. That's
right. Exactly.
No, they don't.
And that's why people need it though, because I mean, a show is never going to be everything you want it to be. It is never ever going to be everything you want it to be. You can love the show with all you have, and it's still going to do something to disappoint you. Because that's just the way it is. Because you're not writing it, you're not in control of it. So what you want is not always going to be on the screen.
Right.
So if you have people who enjoy other things about the show, I mean, they can help you find something to enjoy. That's been my experience with people who don't exactly agree with me on every point.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely think through you, Christine, in our conversations about like different ships, I really do think that's why now I'm like, I ship everything on PD, because I'd never really thought about it before. I'd thought, okay, well, Upstead's on the show now, so obviously I ship that. And then Bersek's on the show now, so obviously I ship that. And that's kind of where I stopped. And then like through our conversations, I started thinking about it. I was like, wait, no, I like everything.
Yeah. Being friends with her like helps me and stuff.
Yeah.
You see this bitch look away.
It does though. Like so many people are like, oh yeah, I ship that too. Like, that's awesome. And I love having those connections, but like, I really love that she can be like, yeah, they're not for me. And like, you know, like we have, like, Chicago's not the only ones that we disagree on. Like we disagree on One Tree Hill, and we've had conversations about that for years. Like I'm hardcore Brucus.
Yeah. And my perspective changed on that too, because I actually love Brucus as adults.
Yeah, and we both like we like talked that out together. And I do think that it's a lot easier when the show's over, right? Like, that's how it ended. So you can go back and you can discuss. And like, I do think that a lot of the animosity with Chicago comes from, it's still ongoing.
Yeah.
So really,
it's still changing. Yeah.
Anything. And for the most part, anything can kind of happen, right? Yep. Like, if the character's not dead.
I mean, and that's like Monica could decide she wants to come back to Chicago at any point. And if she were to do that, I would have to deal with that, and it would be a big struggle for me.
We would get through it together.
I would do it.
We'll get through it together while Christine is celebrating.
I absolutely love Monica. It's Gabby that I have the issue with. So, like, I would have to, deal with that.
I really don't think it's going to happen because of the circumstances of it. But Sophia could come back, and I would be okay with that. And you and I could deal with that together, and Christine could celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's what I mean. A show is never going to be 100% what you want it to be all the time, because especially if it's still on the air, it's still going to change. People are going to come in and out of the show. Actors are going to decide they don't want to be on it anymore, like Annie.
I know.
It's like it's going to happen. Characters are going to move on. Characters are going to come back. Characters are going to die. Things are going to happen that you don't like. And it's what you do when that happens that's important, not necessarily the fact that it happens. So
throw you under the rug though, but didn't you say, Sarah, that you would go back to shipping Linstead if Sophia went back?
So if she did, like, because we've had conversations about this, because we both agree that it's probably not ever going to happen. But if she came, if she came back, like, it would depend on where Jay and Haley were at, how conflicted I would be, but I would be extremely conflicted because I loved them.
Okay.
And I mean, if she came back, I definitely think that I feel like there's a big part of me that would be like, hey, like, they were supposed to be Endgame. I shipped them a lot, and I kind of think I'd like to see them back together. Like, I love Upstead. I love Upstead, and I love my Upstead friends, but I really miss Linstead. No, I think that this is how we talked about it, though. Like, my attitude was, I would be conflicted, but ultimately, Linstead deserves their happy ending.
I see, and for me, okay, from the perspective of a Bretzi shipper, let's talk about this. If Monica were to decide to come back and be Gabby full time, like, not just one episode a season, I mean, like, Gabby every episode, I would immediately know that that's going to put the kibosh on Bretzi. Like, that's just matter of fact.
Because if Matt and Gabby are on the same show, that's where they're going to be.
That was going to be Endgame. If she comes back, that's going to be Endgame again. I know that. Now, the only time that I would doubt that is if they go down this journey with Bretzi all the way to the end, where they're married, they have kids. It's like a commit. The only time that I would have an issue with that is if it gets to that point where it's like they're married, they have a family, conundrum. And then Gabby comes back. Then I'm gonna be like, oh, if you have Matt leave Sylvie for Gabby now, that's gonna be out of character.
Don't give them ideas. At
any other point.
That's also a different situation though, because you guys have dealt with the same showrunner. Not you guys. Fire has dealt with the same showrunner since day one.
Yeah.
Yep.
When it comes to PD, the showrunner
PD has had it. Like, my God, PD has had it rough. When you think about casting and crew, like, they've had it rough.
Yeah, and the showrunner changed literally the same time when Sophia left.
Right.
So whatever storylines were going on with Sophia basically left.
And I mean, in that regard, we kind of have to think of it like two different shows, right? Like the
that's like, it's two different shows. Like, it I mean, as sucky as the ending was for season 4, it feels like that show ended. That part of that show ended.
My thing is though, like,
it's
I'm glad that it's finally happening, but like, how come Kevin never gets any love?
Oh, Kevin! I love Kevin so much.
That's why
what have you been doing to him for all these seasons?
He is
like that man is the sweetest man this show has. Okay,
he is my favorite. He is my favorite.
Yeah, me too. And you see why that's why I wasn't really into Rosewater to begin with, because it was so late in. And as organic as Rosewater is, like, I actually do like him. It's not that I don't. You guys never you never gave me the chance to answer that question earlier. I actually do like Water. But like, I found the initial idea of when this was I think this was around the time when I didn't know that. I didn't know that they knew about Erin leaving early on. I thought that everybody found out after she left already. Because when I was reading the articles, it looked like the news broke after she left or after the season ended. So
she gave producers.
Okay, well I didn't know.
Yeah, she gave the producers notification.
It might have been after they announced her departure when they actually started telling everybody like, oh, she did give notice, because it looked like from the articles that I read, she's departing after 4 seasons and it was abrupt, and then after that it was articles.
It might have been halfway through season 4 that the rest of us knew, but I remember knowing before. I remember knowing before the end of the season. So I mean, it might have been halfway through, and they were like, "Hey, like because she gave them a whole season, but like they might have waited until the mid-season finale or something like that." But I remember being like, "What? That's how the season's gonna end?" Like I distinctly remember that.
Okay. Well, my point was like, if obviously if Sophia had stayed, I wanted Kevin to be with Haley because of the whole it was just would have been a different dynamic. Because for one, Kevin needed somebody. So it was
I used to be into Kevin and Kim.
Yeah.
Oh, I low key ship Kevin and Kim. I'm not gonna lie to you, I do.
The way he defends her and their friendship is pure.
Their friendship is amazing.
I think that's my thing. I can't pick somebody for Kevin because
Kevin can be with them all.
Yeah, I feel like he could work with any of them. That's my thing. Because I did like Kevin and Kim.
I just love my thing with Rowater is that I feel like I know that the two actors have a really great friendship.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
It's so adorable. And so that carries over for me because it carries over into their chemistry together when they're on screen. And so I just I really love the idea of it.
That's
and also I have wanted him to have a love interest for so long. He's I love Atwater.
They've just been poor Kevin deserves love more than any of those characters.
Right?
And that's why I actually had the idea of Haley and Kevin, because I know that they are super close in real life too. So that's I mean, it came out of nowhere, obviously. They don't interact at all. But
no,
they don't like Kevin Kevin just needs more respect, okay?
I would see the finale this season.
Of all of them.
I love him.
The finale this season made me so happy because it was just so.
It was finally right.
And it was Kevin at his best. It was Kevin yes,
just owning it.
So excited about that. It was amazing.
I can't wait to see where
it goes. With the cars, with the cop cars,
yes, and
yes.
Kevin he's gonna rock it.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Process of elimination. That's the only reason why.
But he could, right? He's the kind of guy he could make it work with anyone because he's just the sweetest.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He so much genuinely cares about those around him. It would be so easy to have seen him with Kim. It would be so easy to see him with Haley. It's just who he is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we talked about the opening of the Infection crossover earlier, and that's Kim, Burgess and Atwater in that opening, my all-time favorite.
I love it.
but the pregame, Burgess, leave me alone. Just amazing.
I love I think I love too with I love the way that Vanessa has kind of put herself into the show. Just the way, I don't know, one of her, she's so snarky and I love it, but one of my favorites with her is when she is walking with Haley and Jay comes out of nowhere and hands Haley a copy and she's
yes, I remember that.
Thanks. Just the way she is about it, she's just so casual, he's walking and she's oh yeah, thanks, no, I didn't really want one, and he's just so stunned, he's you could see this more, he's do I give her mine, what do I do? And she just the way she is about it, she's just we're good. I just love her.
I do too. Oh my gosh.
And I think that she is going to her personality, the personality that they have come up with for her and the personality that is put into her character matches so well with Kevin's. I think that they're yin and yang. I think they're going to really complement each other as time goes on. And I'm expertly done, finally. And so basically my attitude now is Rowater is all I care about. Screw the other ones. They don't even deserve love anymore, okay? Like, they've trashed on it. Kim and Adam have ruined their relationship too many times.
Kim and Adam.
It's so hard to watch them, and you sit there for a whole season, and you're like, you see them do something where you're like, okay, this is it. They're gonna work it out. This is the time. It's this time, and then it just like blows up in your face.
Well, okay, so here's the thing.
I'm like upset. Because
look,
I had to move on from it. I was just like, I can't.
Yeah.
The drama.
It's drama. I don't need that drama.
I get to a place with them where with Burzek where I'm like, okay, well, I'm done with it now. But then
they pull you back in.
Yeah, they pull me back in. Like I was so
time.
upset. Like they're just gonna be friends now. Like after the baby, you know. And then Adam did that thing where she was like, she walks away and he's like, I'm still with you. And I was like, why are you doing this to me? Like I don't need you to pull me back in. Ugh, you do that every time.
I get how appealing that is because I felt the same way too when that happened, and I was just like, oh,
why can't you two kids work it out?
I think it's a sense of like, you watched it from the beginning, and it's doing this really great organic build up, and it's doing this, and then all of a sudden, I blame Roman. I'll always blame Roman. It's all his fault. They fall apart, and it's like they couldn't. So you're just waiting, right? Because it happens in a show. They break up, and you're like, okay, the makeup is coming. And you kind of never get the full fulfillment of that. So I think we're just waiting for that, like it's like we're being teased. Like the carrot's right there, it's almost there, and then it gets yanked away again. And I think that we're just really searching for that closure.
Sorry.
Fuck Roman. I hate him.
But when you see them together on screen, though, it reminds you that it works.
Magic.
And then when they're not together, you're like, man, I'm so sick of this. But then you see them, and it's like, oh.
We're still talking about Burzek?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Roman? Because I hate Roman.
No, I don't want to talk about Roman.
What'd you say?
I don't feel any type of way about Roman
too?
Huh?
Were you saying fuck Roman too?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I said I like him.
Oh, I hate him. Fuck him.
Sorry. The more I rewatched, the more I actually liked him.
The
more.
What?
Yeah, and then the
Can
more.
Look, this is the only thing that I have.
I remember we used to bond about how manipulative he was.
Well, the only feeling I have about Roman is Derek Haas this past season, because he came back. Derek Haas said that Roman was the Severide of PD, and I was like, what? That doesn't make sense.
That was the one thing I kind of hated about that comeback, but I was just like, this came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. It was.
They weren't really They weren't really friends. Like,
no. It was weird. It like, because Derek Haas in his head was like, oh, they would have been friends. They would have hung out. And I'm like, except they didn't. So
that's the thing. They did it. Like, and that was the thing with. Yeah, it's not like they did like what Haley and Aaron did. Like they actually were
right. Like never had we ever seen them like on screen at the same time.
Like one episode where I think it was like Severide was stuck in a train or something, and then
yeah, they had an exchange like outside. That was it. That's
but if, in my opinion, if Severide was gonna be Adam.
Yeah, that was my thought too. If you're gonna call somebody like the Severide of PD, it's gonna be
Adam.
Ruzek. It's gonna be Ruzek. It's not gonna be Roman.
It's not.
Never.
I don't. I'm like, and I'm sorry. Christine, I didn't know that you liked him. I think that he was super manipulative, and I think that he fucked with Kim's head from the moment he was on there. And like,
I didn't like him, and then I rewatched, and I actually did.
Yeah. He's annoying.
And here we go. Like, this is it. Like, it's another example of us not getting along, but at the same time getting along. It's fine. You can trash him. I don't care.
We used to bond.
The more
bond about how
that's kind of like
him.
I think we've talked about chili before. I'm very anti-chili. I do not like. I liked her at the end of season 3, but since then,
I'm on the fence about chili.
Don't like chili.
Well, I like the idea of her. I think that's what I said earlier on. I like the idea of her because of the connection that she had with PD, and I'm a PD. So it's just like I like the connection of it.
Yeah, maybe that's like why I'm on the fence, because that's kind of how I feel. I like the idea.
It's not Jellybean, but it's her sister. So
yeah.
Like I like the idea of her. That could have been such potential.
Yeah.
So much potential. Like she could have crossed over a lot, and actually spend time in Antonio or something.
Well, I think sometimes they do stuff that they try to like, let's have these two characters to bridge that gap, and that's I think where a lot of the Bertonio came from, right?
Well,
like we're gonna have this, we're gonna have this relationship.
But they didn't carry it over to PD, which was weird. Like Bretonio was like all on fire,
all
and then
on
there
fire.
was like nothing
but
on
I think,
PD.
And I think that was because of Gabby, maybe. But like the thing is, too, in my opinion, now that they've switched to all being on Wednesdays, you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well,
and like you'll notice now in later seasons that like they'll cross over in the background more and more frequently.
Yeah.
And like that's part of what makes it feel to me like a 3-hour movie, because they're kind of just always in the background of each other's shows.
And this is the thing. So I normally don't, I'm going to be honest, I don't normally like the big crossover events because I feel like they use Fire to set it up and then you never see Fire again. And that Fire is my favorite show, so that kind of annoys me, but I loved this year's because they all flowed into each other. So like Fire came back later on.
It's not like I have to pretend like I'm really at a bar, and that's usually what I do, go to the bathroom. So
okay.
Keep talking.
But I agree. But like at the same time, I think that the crossovers were to run the shows, and like we don't really need that anymore. I mean, I love them.
But no, the way that they did it this year, since they're all on Wednesday, it was like
great.
A movie.
Oh my God.
I loved it. I want them to do them like that every time now, because it may have started with Fire, but it didn't actually feel like a Fire episode because it had
that's the first time
that
I remember live tweeting it, and that's the first time that I've ever felt genuinely confused about which one I'm watching.
Right.
What hour am I in?
They all felt like they were all together at the same time. So it just felt like one Chicago. Like they keep advertising it as that, but it did genuinely feel like one Chicago. Like you're watching one show about all of these people. And I liked that. And I need them to do the crossovers like that more, because I don't like it when they start the problem with Fire, then it moves to Med or PD and it moves to the other.
They tried to do a crossover but keep it singular in a way.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't enjoy that, because if why am I going to watch the rest of it if like my characters aren't going to
be done? Yeah.
I've already said Med is really hard for me to watch, so I'm not going to like make myself watch Med.
Watch that part, yeah.
For like Brett to be in the background for 2 seconds. Like I'm not going to do that. I'd rather
don't let me leave. Next time, don't let me leave because you guys ended up seeing my bed. I'm at Molly's. I'm not at Rome.
You have a bed at Molly's. That's just normal. Who doesn't have a
alcoholic? You live there?
Yeah, with Chris Evans in the background.
But no, I mean, I want them to do the crossovers like that more, where it's
just like we're talking about Chicago Wednesdays.
Yeah, like the crossover.
Episodes.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if Justice was still around?
That'd be. But that's part of the reason why I understand why it's not.
Yeah, me too.
No, me too. Which is why I was talking.
That's a lot.
We should just revive it.
Too many.
Yeah. We should just revive it in like Peacock.
I have a hard enough time going from 8 to 11.
Yeah.
And like I think the 3 is just right. I think 4 would be too many. Like it's
4
just
is
too
too
much.
Well, one, because you can't put it all on the same night. Television,
no way.
Primetime TV is only 8, 9,
8 to 11.
10.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not. You get into late night if you get to 11, so you can't put 4 shows on at once. You can only do 3.
And nobody's gonna do the 3. Yeah. And then 1.
And then a one Chicago show on another night is not going to work. You need to have them all on the same night. So I mean that makes sense.
I get that. But it wasn't like back then.
That's like they don't really do SVU crossovers anymore because all the Chicago shows take up the same night, and it used to be like, SVU.
I wonder if they're going to now though with the new SVU.
What do you mean? Oh, so if the 2 SVUs cross over with one Chicago? Holy crap.
No.
Oh,
I wonder if the SVUs are going to try to go for something like Chicago now that they have this new SVU show coming out.
Well, it's Stabler. I mean, that they have to.
Yeah, and I think they advertise it too. I think they advertise it already. Like,
they're already. Yeah,
you should expect crossover. So
yeah, I mean, it's Stabler.
Are they going to be on the same? They're on the same night too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're back to back.
NBC is working this. They're working it out.
Yeah,
that's where it should be. Like the shows that go together should be together.
Oh, I agree.
The crossover that is still the weirdest for me is Upton going to FBI on a totally other network. I watched it. Don't get me wrong, but
it was weird.
Felt weird.
But it was
weird. And then like Voight's reason being that she was going outside the lines too much, and their lines are very clear there.
I don't want to talk about that move right there. I don't want to talk about
Well,
it.
that was the thing that we were talking about. We talked about Voight being like
that could have
very.
been an opportunity to talk about Aaron, and he didn't. So
What are you
That's true.
talking about?
Haley going to the FBI.
Why do you want to talk about it?
Where did Aaron go?
To the FBI
SVU.
in New York.
Oh, like her character in general went to the FBI? Did she go to the FBI in New York?
Yes.
So what, you're mad that she wasn't there?
They didn't talk about her at least.
Come on.
Maybe that's why Jay got so sensitive about it when Haley went there.
Was it clear? No.
Maybe he's like, great. There she goes. Now there's gonna be 2 women that leave me for the FBI.
That was literally all the thoughts.
It was proof that he actually thought that.
All the jokes on Twitter. All the jokes on Twitter were about that. They were like, well, there goes 2 love interests in the FBI in New York.
See, we acknowledged it. I'm sorry that Jay didn't.
Wait, who? What?
Twitter. The Twitter world acknowledged it.
Yes, I know. That's my point. It's
sorry that
from season 5 onwards,
they didn't acknowledge it.
Okay. Whatever. I blame Jay.
We didn't like it. We didn't like that she went there. We wish that she hadn't. Does that make you feel better?
No, I didn't say that you guys didn't like it. I'm just saying I wish the writers had just said it. I put them in similar situations if they're not even going to mention a character.
But the thing is though, if they'd have done that, I don't know.
Maybe they forgot. Maybe they're like, oh man, like we
well,
said,
that's
like,
possible.
Maybe after it came out, they're like
changed.
Like it comes out, maybe they're like watching, they're like, oh man, we forgot that's where we sent Aaron.
You know, if anything, I don't even care if Jay didn't mention it. At least Voight, maybe that would have made a little bit more sense.
See, and here's the thing about
like, I'm sending you to Aaron because Aaron's the one to teach you how to stay inside the lines.
No. Here's the thing though.
Just said tell Aaron I said hi. Okay.
Characters that leave.
Like the fact that she's not even mentioned anymore. Was she not a character for 4 seasons?
Well,
I guess
not.
Right.
Maybe they probably forgot.
Okay, but all the Chicago shows do this though. The character leaves and then they barely mention them if they're still alive. Like how many times has Mills been brought back up since he went to North Carolina? Aside from the episode after he went to North Carolina.
Or Jimmy.
Jimmy, right. Well, Jimmy. Oh.
Like Shay's really the only one.
Right, and Otis, Shay and Otis, because they died.
Oh, they did do Otis. They did do Otis a lot.
A lot.
My concern though.
Okay, Logan has a point there.
If they're
my
still
concern though is that Otis won't
died.
be mentioned anymore.
But
Alvin got mentioned a lot because he died.
Yeah, but if they're still living, it's like they don't exist. Like I mean, except for Gabby because Monica came back.
Yeah, such a
she's trying. She got to keep coming back.
And since Monica came back, that means also Antonio got a mention. So we know what's going on with the Dawsons. Apart from the Dawsons, where's Mouse? What happened? What is he? Is that
they're around? They're around. You know,
like you know what I mean. Like aside
they
from
come
that,
visit off screen.
But nobody mentions it.
No, like, we don't talk about those visits. It's like Fight Club.
Again, Wolf Entertainment. If you need more people,
we can help you. We'll fix it.
Let me just fix it over one sentence.
Okay, but also, could you imagine if they spent any amount of time mentioning characters that have left? They'd spend the whole episodes doing that because so many have left.
Sarah, all I wanted was to say hi to Aaron.
All I wanted. I mean, they just have to do it once, like offhand. Like, that's it. It doesn't even have to be like a big deal. It's not like they have to sit in detail. Oh, I had this conversation with Peter Mills and it went like this. That's not how it has to be. She disappeared.
Just to the point where we just said, hey, tell Aaron I said hi. Oh, yay! So she still exists. She's still alive.
That would not have made you happy.
Yes, it would. It would. It honestly would have. If they would have just handled it a little bit better, yeah, it would have. I'm telling you. I actually said it the other day. I was like, I wish Erin would have just died. Then they probably would have given her.
They would talk about her all the time.
Huh? Wait, what?
Then they would have talked about her all the time if she had.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
I don't
like. Not loud.
I know that they had a bad ending, like a bad departure. But shit, they don't have to show it on screen too. Fuck.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Say hi to Erin. How easy is that? 5 seconds.
The moral of the story is don't trash characters or people who like characters that you don't like. And I mean, the ultimate moral of the story is don't be a dick.
Yes, Sarah.
Right?
Sorry.
I mean, and my biggest thing is I don't like demeaning women, whether they're fictional or real, to try and boost another woman. That sets all of us back when you do that. Let's not do that. Because you can dislike a woman without making it because she's a slut or because she's this or she's that. You can do all of those things. I mean,
you don't have to be so cruel with why you don't like them. Just don't like them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Calling Aaron abusive. Like, that's not, no.
That's rude.
No, she wasn't. Well, that's like, I mean, people like to use Sylvie's dating past against her.
So rude.
Don't talk about Severides because we'll never stop.
Seriously, Sylvie's had like 4 on-screen relationships.
Severides had like 4 in one episode.
Right.
That's true.
And he got married that one time. That was fun.
And divorced.
Yeah, and he got divorced that one time. That was fun. Yeah.
And then he had like 2
or 3 girls at once at one time.
Before the show even started, it was established that he was engaged.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or Adam with his 3 engagements. That was fun.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Why we got to do it? We don't got to do it. I don't have to tear down Gabby just because I like Sylvie. That doesn't make sense.
No. Mm-hmm.
So let's not do it.
I'm not going to tear down Aaron because I like Haley because I also like Aaron.
That's right. There you go.
You don't have to like both characters and have to tear them down. Like,
right.
That's how it is. You don't have to.
You can dislike a character without having to like insult them all the time.
If anything, you're the one being abusive. Like, you're the one being abusive for even starting shit to begin with. So
no, just leave people alone. Like, let people
alone.
Ship and let ship.
God.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that what I said in the beginning of my article?
Yes.
I ship who I ship. Am I rocking yours? No.
I said it in the beginning of mine and the end because I just wanted to really like. Seems like you don't need to put that link in there twice. I was like, yes, I do.
She advertised mine twice, and I'm like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I do, because that's the point I'm trying to get across, is that I'm writing an upset article, but don't even read it if you're going to disrespect Winstead or Aaron.
Yep. No, I
want to see it.
I feel the same way, because I want to talk to people who love Sylvie as much as I do, but I don't want to talk to people who only want to use Sylvie to insult Gabby.
Right.
That's not what I want to do.
I'm not gonna respond.
Women, don't talk to me.
Right, like just because we both agree that we like Sylvie
doesn't
mean that I'm going to continue talking to you if you're going to trash Gabby.
Exactly right.
This is true because like last month I was anti-upset, right? But I wasn't going about looking for people who were super anti-upset as well.
Right.
I wasn't looking for someone to talk.
You weren't looking for a bash fest.
I was looking for a bash fest. I was looking for someone who liked Winston. And that's all I needed. I needed to have a civil conversation to where we could both compare like the relationships and just be like, well, this is why we like them. This is why we think so and so, and this is why we think this doesn't work. That's all all I needed. I didn't want to go off and just find somebody like, let's talk shit.
Right. So, and that's the thing. It's so much more positive to find someone that you can be excited about something with. As opposed to finding someone that you can hate on something with.
Yeah.
Because that's just going to feed that negativity and make it bigger, and you're not going to be happy with that. So that's why I say talk more about the things that you love and less about the things that you hate, because talking about the things that you hate only makes you feel worse. It's not going to make anybody else feel worse.
Pisses you off all over again.
Exactly.
And that's why I wrote that article about Upset and Linstead, because I needed to let it out. Mm-hmm. So it made me happy, and that's the reason, and I gave the reasons why I like them. And if you don't like them, then don't like them.
But look how many people had come out for that to say, I'm so glad that someone else feels the same way about this. I don't say anything because I'm worried about the hate I'll get.
Yep.
Yeah. That's not okay.
And that's
not okay to hate on someone so badly that they no longer want to share their love for something.
And that's how that was the point of this podcast too, because I wanted to prove that point. It was so hard for me to fit into this fandom. It's a lot harder for me to fit into this fandom than the rest of my other fandoms, even though
you'll always fit in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I mean, like I have like a less than a handful of fandoms that gave me crap over the years, but like this is one that's like pretty bad.
It's bad. It's volatile.
It's bad.
That is
It's bad, especially on Twitter. It's bad.
They like disvalidate. They make me invalid because of the fact that I only just started watching.
Yeah, they do that to me too.
Her point's invalid because she binge watched it.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't know in what world you think that it becomes invalid. You still watched the same show.
Yeah, I watched the same goddamn show. Like, just because I don't share the same damn opinion as you, it doesn't mean I didn't.
No opinion is invalid. They're all just different.
Sorry.
Right. No, yeah, I mean, I totally get that because one, coming in late, and two, being a Brettsy shipper, it is very hard because people are very, very passionate about the things that came before early on in Chicago Fire. So for me, it was hard too. I had to find people who enjoy Brettsy like I do. And that wasn't easy because people were afraid to talk about Brettsy for a long time.
And that was me. And
there are still a lot of them that are.
Yes. Because every time you do, somebody comes out of the woodwork to tell you why you're wrong.
And it's not even just to tell you that you're wrong. It's just cruel. Like, they trash the person as a person.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I should expect that from someone who looks like this or who supports this or no. I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that on my timeline. I don't want to see any of that on Cape and Castle's timeline. I'm totally fine with people who disagree with anything that we say. But the thing is with our site and what's so beautiful about it is that if you don't like Upstead, there's a Linstead article for you. If you don't like Linstead, there's an Upstead article for you. Like, you can find what you're into on our site because we not only allow, but we nurture so many different opinions. We want all of the opinions. We want Dossie and Brettsy, and go find the article for the ship that you're into, but don't trash on the other articles for the ships that you're not.
Yeah, and see, and that's the reason that I wanted to join this is because that's so rare to find. Most sites now pick a ship and they stick with that ship.
No,
they don't. It's not like you get a whole variety of opinion, and I like that. I like the discussion, and not everybody has to agree. That doesn't mean we hate each other.
I mean, literally, we've done Stellaride, we've done Upstead, we've done Upzet, we've done Linstead.
Yeah. I'm about to Dossie and actually commend her for writing the Brettsy one.
Oh my God. And that Brettsy one, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, and I'm the one who edited that one. I'm the one who edited that one, and
she's like, I edited it, no one touch it, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, because I just wanted everybody. Well, I wanted you guys to know, like, I already edited it. That's why, and it wasn't scheduled. But anyway, so I was the one who edited it, and being a Dossie fan, like, that's really big. Like, that's a really big thing. Like, I'm reading a Brettsy article, and I'm a Dossie fan. Oh, that's uncanny. No, it's possible. It's possible to read it and not look at it.
And I know that we have a Dossie in the works. We have a Burzek in the works. Like, don't worry. Like, we're gonna get to all the Chicago fandoms because we have all those opinions.
Yeah. But we're not going to go around bashing each other for it.
No, we're going to support each and every one of them. We're going to support every article the same. We're going to share the crap out of every article the same way. And we're going to support the writer behind those articles.
I retweeted Upstead.
You did. So proud of you. And I retweeted Linstead and Upset.
Yeah, and I retweeted Brettsy. Like, it's going to happen. Like, I'm not just doing that just because they're my contributors. I'm not, or like, like.
I tweeted out your, like I said, I really enjoyed your Upsec article.
That was good, wasn't it?
Like the Upsec Linstead. I really loved that article.
So good.
So I tweeted that out, and I was like, this is a really great perspective on both things.
It was so good.
I mean, I don't see why you can't, even if you don't personally ship it, I don't see why you can't understand why other people do. Because me, as a Brettsy shipper, I totally get Dossie. I understand why people liked it. I get that. I don't necessarily like it, but that doesn't mean I don't understand that they had chemistry and that they had this really great story and that, it was like star-crossed lovers for a while there. I totally get that. But, that just because I like Brettsy doesn't mean that I don't. So my problem is that I feel like a lot of people these days, they assume that you just don't get it. No, that doesn't mean that. That doesn't mean that I don't understand where you're
This
coming
means
from.
it's not what I'm invested in right now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Don't go around and quote tweeting my article and being all like, this should have stayed in the drafts. You think I can't?
My favorite was the one, I don't know, was it Betsy Upsek or Linstead, where they quote treated it and just did the vomit, and I'm just like,
that was Brettsy. There is
okay, well, it was both apparently.
there is a group of like diehard like Dawson stands that emoji is like what they put on everything.
That's
I
so
get
rude.
it on Instagram all the time.
But here, and this is what I do remember telling Logan this is my favorite, okay? When you do that, here's my call out to all the haters out there that are watching this. When you do that, you're still sharing the article.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
I'm still gonna thank you for it because you're gonna have different followers than I do, and you just shared it to all of them.
Oh yeah.
And that emoji makes me curious. Like if someone doesn't like, oh, like why didn't they let? I'm gonna click it. So thank you for all the clicks that you earned us.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I thank you guys for quote tweeting my article and talking shit about it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where people see it.
It builds up the hype and it increases the conversation. So hey.
And if you look at the numbers on those articles, they're high.
Yeah. So thank you guys for actually giving us top rank.
We got some major stats out of those.
You actually gave us the numbers. Thanks.
So again, the moral of the story is at the end of the day, if you're not gonna act like a dick, it's better for everyone.
Yeah. Or you could act like a dick and then we could just benefit from it.
Right, that too.
Cheers to that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, cheers to that for sure.
Oh my god. So you got the vomit one too then, huh?
That's hilarious. I didn't know it was on. I knew it was on. I'm like, man, like why can't I remember?
The quote tweet that was on mine, it was like a whole row of them. Like
that was mine.
That was hers too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was mine. I got one that was like, I needed a good laugh, to be honest.
We
didn't get that one. We didn't understand. Like, we don't get it. We don't like. Are you being like? We couldn't really tell if they were being rude or not. Like I was like, what's happening?
No, they were being rude. They were basically saying they laughed at the logic in the article.
Yeah, if you read the rest of the comments, she was giving me all like, Aaron will never be endgame with Jay. You have to, or some shit like that. And then started talking about, I think it was Upsec too. I think it was more Upsec than it was Linstead.
Yeah.
But it was and that's the thing I think, and that's the thing we were talking about earlier, where like people feel like you can't ship it if it's not going to be in game or if it's not going to happen. That logic makes no sense.
I knew that Connor and Sarah were never going to be, and now they're both gone from Med. Yeah. So they're really not. So I told Christine, you want to know what my headcanon is for this? She's like, yeah. I go, okay. So Sarah left, right? So now that Connor left, where did he go? Maybe he went to the hospital that Sarah was working at, either on purpose or not purposely, and name it up. Now they're together.
There you go. Hey, that's like my Mills and Dawson headcanon.
They went off, and now they're together, and it's all fine.
And it's great.
Great.
And there's nothing wrong with taking what's canon right now and actually just bringing it. It's called fan fiction for a reason.
It's called creativity.
It's called creativity. It's called imagination.
And
you know what? Like, if you don't like it, if you don't like what's happening, go write a fan fiction, man. Get it out.
That's my thing. Create content for what you love so that you can experience it.
Yeah.
Instead of trashing other people's content, create your own.
And that's why I'm okay with whatever canon goes on right now, because I've learned to deal with that for years.
Yeah.
So if
fan fiction is what helped Christine cope with Upstead.
Oh my god. That's what got me to like Haley.
Seriously. Like our fandom.
It's amazing. Like a fan fiction got me to like Haley.
Mm-hmm. It's
not even what was on canon. It was what fan fiction wrote, because they gave me the best perspective. It's like they wrote the Upstead friendship so well, and then I realized it. Like, oh yeah, that actually does make sense in canon. So it's amazing what fan fiction can do.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm I love fan fiction. Fan fiction is amazing. It extends the universe that you know.
Yeah.
And that's just, to me, one of the coolest things, because we only see a portion of this actual world on the show because they only have an hour
to
show it to us. So fan fiction is going to give you so much more anyway. Why not indulge in it and create it?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're having a hard time with something on the show, fix it.
That's what I do.
Do it for yourself, That's my thoughts on it.
I read about Romanagers because it never happened on the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I was okay with it because then
you gotta fix it.
I fixed it.
It was wonderful.
There you go. See? And if Monica were to come back full time to Chicago Fire today, I would still be writing Brettsy fanfics. That's not gonna change.
Write and support what you love, and don't trash what you don't.
Right.
Exactly.
Like if Aaron did come back, I would still be reading Winstead. It's not gonna change.
There you go.
Unless something does happen and I'm like, oh, I actually do like them. It's not gonna be because it's gonna be out of my own volition.
Yeah.
Because of canon.
Right.
Yeah. So. See how easy it is. It's so
yes. So easy to just have a discussion and
that
not
I would have
yell
been worried. I was actually worried. I was like, oh, you guys are gonna go pit against me. Like,
no.
All this. But it's such a great decision that we made this podcast.
I think so too. I mean, I think the whole like sort of roundtable discussion really brings up, like we said, different perspectives, different points, different, because everybody sees something different. Art's always been that way. Art is open to interpretation, and everybody has a different interpretation, and that is perfectly fine. That is how it is intended to be.
Right.
So, like on one of my stories, I wrote, I had Peter Mills do this one thing, okay? In a fanfic, I had him do this one thing. I put an intention behind it myself, but I didn't clearly state it in the fic. And the comments were the totally opposite intention. So it's open to interpretation the same way with a television show. They do something with it. We can take it however,
And it's meant to inspire discussion.
Exactly.
But it's not meant to inspire hate.
No.
You can have healthy arguments about it.
Yep.
Like, Christine and I have healthy arguments all the time. Yeah, sometimes other people might think that they're not healthy because there's a lot of swearing and capital letters involved, but it is.
It's actually healthy.
And I still love her just as much after.
I mean, one of my favorite sayings is true friends stab you in the face.
Oh yeah.
They don't stab you in the back. They stab you in the face.
I do that a lot. I
stab
her in the face.
Yep.
Sometimes she likes to hit me up at midnight and just insult me. Like she'll be like, hey, look at this photo, and it'll be a picture of a couple that she knows that I don't like. She knows that I'm not going to answer because it's late, and so the next morning I wake up and I'm like, what a dick.
She's building up your tolerance.
That was last night.
It was last night. It is. That's what I'm referring to.
I showed her a picture of Severide and Brittany.
Oh,
okay. So funny because she knew I wasn't going to answer. She knew I wasn't going to answer, so she immediately responded, I know, don't even give it a response.
Hey, I backed it up with a good J photo.
Yeah, she's like, here, I'll fix it. Let me make it better. Let me send you this really hot picture of Jay.
Well, it was.
I mean, that wouldn't be hard to find. He's very attractive.
Like, it wasn't wrong.
Okay.
But the point is, we're going to get together and we're going to do these episodes and we're not going to agree on everything.
Yeah.
It's actually more rare for us to agree on the things, but we're still going to get along. We're still going to drink together. We're still going to have a good time, and we're still going to make these episodes.
That's right.
Once a month, we're actually going to be doing, I guess we're going to be revisiting per season, starting from the beginning.
Let's do it.
Each of these shows until we run out of seasons to talk about, and then we're going to regroup and talk about something else. But
with One Chicago, there's always something to talk about.
I was about to say, there's so much content.
Guys, it's the badass females. If it's not the badass females, it's the ships. If it's not that, it's the storylines. There's always something.
Yep.
But that's the whole point of fangirling, right? Is to fangirl over the shit that we like. So once a month, we'll be at Molly's having a drink and doing this.
Yes. I'm so excited.
And I hope that you all enjoyed our first episode, because I know that I did. And it's been a lot of fun, and I think that it's going to be fun every time we have an episode. And I raise my beer and I say cheers to my favorite ladies who love Chicago.
Where did my drink go?
The green screen takes it away.
Oh, there we go.
Cheers to many more episodes where we just get together and we fangirl over what we love.
Hell yes.
Yes. Cheers.
All right, girls. Let's bounce.
Let's bounce.
It looks like this. It looks like the bar's closed. Or the
It does. We closed it down.
Closed a long time ago.
Closed it down. Herman is yelling at us from the back. Herman is about to kick us out right now.
Okay, let's go.